Welcome to The Show Off, the podcast where we make each other sit down, shut up, and watch episodes of our favorite TV shows and then explain, or be forced to listen to, why it's top-tier television. This show is for anyone who has ever wanted to go on endless tangents about their favorite shows, but their friends and family don't want to hear it. We get it. Ditch those losers and come hang out with us instead. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kampy.
And this is The Show Off. We're at my house today.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're hanging out at Amanda's.
Yeah. We decided to change it up a little bit and see if we can make our setup a little bit more mobile, which is exciting.
Especially for the summer coming up, because my apartment doesn't really cool down.
It's a hot box.
Yeah.
Yeah. We record usually in Kampy's office. And
it's a nice office.
It's a nice office. It's a super nice office. But
It's not in the summer.
Ventilation is not one of the perks.
No.
Yeah. And now we're in my living room where it is much more spacious. Anyway.
What are we talking about today, Amanda?
Well, this is one of our first little mini episodes we're going to do. A little mini-sode. Yeah, because there are some just kind of random topics we want to chat about to you guys that don't necessarily have to do with making each other watch episodes of TV. So
we still
today,
want to talk about it because we just love talking TV.
Yeah, and we thought that these could be a good opportunity to give you guys some shorter episodes instead of our usual 2 to 3 hour long rants about
Sometimes
stuff.
4.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, we thought these could be nice little sort of shorter episodes for you guys to just listen to on the fly, on your commute, maybe on a walk.
The shower, on the toilet.
Whatever, wherever.
However you like to do it.
Wherever, whenever. Yeah. So today, we have a list of these going, but I thought we would chat a little bit about Blue Skies TV.
We love Blue Skies TV.
Yeah,
Amanda,
we really do.
What is Blue Skies Television?
Blue Skies Television is basically TV that I would say has a comforting predictability to it. You get to know the characters, it's fun, the general tone usually comes back to fun, lighthearted. Yeah. Everybody's going to be okay at the end.
The stakes can be high, but not too high.
Right. Stuff happens, but you know that eventually it's all going to be okay.
We'll get our happy ever after.
Well, yeah. Or at least at the least no one's going to die Game of Thrones style.
No.
Yeah. I feel like the obsession or kind of resurgence, I guess, of this type of TV is almost a direct response to Game of Thrones.
That's an interesting assertion.
Right?
But I think you might be right because, Game of Thrones comes along, subverts the expectation of we're going to set people up for death. And
right.
No one, everybody has plot armor who's important. And Game of Thrones is no, head off.
Yeah, head off. Episode 1. No.
Yeah, but a lot of TV, took that mantle and ran with it.
Yeah.
And it was fun for a while.
It was fun for a while. And now we seem to be swinging back in the opposite direction of can't TV just be fun again?
Yeah, and I would argue too that even just coming out of COVID and coming out of this place where the world was kind of grim and dark.
Absolutely.
And everything sucked. Mm-hmm. And we had the Tiger King and that was fun. But then we needed something to fill the hole.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that I would say, I did not hear this term. We grew up on this type of television. Mm-hmm. These are a lot of the actual shows we're going to be talking about in the show off.
These shows shaped us.
Yeah,
truly. Who we are.
Truly.
Yeah.
But I did not hear this term.
You introduced me to this term.
Yeah, I didn't hear it until last year.
Yeah.
Maybe last summer. And basically what happened, I don't actually know who came up with the term, but I think it started getting thrown around a lot more when last year on Netflix, Suits ran away with the Netflix ratings for
up.
Months. Yeah, insane. Which caused me to rewatch that show, and I had not finished it, and I still haven't finished it actually. I made it to season 9, you guys, and then I got tired.
It's a lot of content.
It's a lot. It's so much. Well, and honestly, it's it is one of those shows where I will get back to it eventually and finish it out.
Just like me with Burn Notice.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And Psych.
I will get past season 1. No, I have seen all the Psych seasons at this point. Finally. Yes.
Y'all can't be avoided watching the end of Psych for so long, and I gave her so much shit about it.
So I only just finished watching the last season of Psych 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have been a fan of the show since it came out, season 1.
Which was 2006?
2006.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because the thing is, I love the show so much, I never wanted it to end.
Yeah.
And as long as I didn't see the last season, the show didn't end.
Except it sort of still hasn't ended because they're making movies
problem.
now.
They keep making movies. So as long as I don't watch all the movies.
Yeah. Which I haven't watched all of them either because they're on frickin' Peacock.
Yeah, who wants to pay for that?
No one.
No.
No one wants to pay for that.
I'm going to admit to crimes on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to edit this out. I do have... So they're ready to go. I just haven't watched them yet.
Shoot. Well, maybe that has to be some bonus content we do at some point.
To watch
watching the Psych movies.
Which, if we do that, Michelle has to come along.
Okay.
Because I promised I'd watch them with her.
Okay. Yeah, truly, I think I've seen 2 of them, the first 2, and then I think there's 4.
There's 3 for sure.
Okay. Maybe they talked about a 4th, but they haven't made it yet.
I know they have 4 and I think there's 3 that's out, and they've already talked about doing a 4 and 5. Like they have plots.
They have plots. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I could be wrong.
All of that is to say. Anyway.
Tangent. Sorry. Distracted.
Back to Blue Skies TV. Where was I going with that? That just there's been this resurgence in popularity of Suits in particular. And there is actually I think an NPR Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast about Suits last year that came out. And they talked about this, about like the idea of Blue Skies TV. And this is a show that ran for 9 seasons. And you like the fact that you can watch all the way through and know it's not going to suddenly be canceled.
Yeah.
Is like part of the comfort of it.
Oh my God. Especially nowadays, like all the streaming shows.
Yeah.
Just how many of them just
get axed
without resolution.
So 3 abruptly.
seasons and we're done.
Yeah. Or 2, or 1, it's crazy. And Netflix is probably the worst perpetrator of that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They're very guilty of this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a running joke now that every Netflix show has 3 seasons and that's it.
Right. Or less.
Yeah.
I'm salty about Shadow and Bone not getting renewed for season 3. They had that shit ready to go, you guys. They had it, the writers were tweeting about it and stuff when the second season came out, and then when they were, talking about whether it was going to get renewed or not. And the writer's like, you guys, we have it in the bag. It's going to be so good.
About that algorithm, though.
Man, and you never know. Stuff can always get picked up, but it's kind of unlikely,
Right.
But anyway,
we're in a new era where the rules are different.
Yeah, the rules are different. So yeah, the appeal of Blue Skies TV is you kind of know what's going to happen. You know everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's Blue Skies,
Yeah.
Blue Skies.
It's like comfort food.
Yeah, comfort food. Yeah, and I would say, this was definitely the most popular time period for this was 2010s, basically end of 2000s, early 2010s.
Aughts and the tens.
Yeah. And mostly USA shows, I would say.
I would argue it's basically just the USA Network.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. They kind of pioneered that style.
Yeah, because, there was Monk.
Yeah.
Right? That was probably the one.
Is Monk the first one?
I would say that was one of the ones that probably started it.
Yeah. I think it came before... Yeah, it came before everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what, The Mentalist slowly after that? And then it kind of just snowballed.
I don't know if I'd put The Mentalist in a Blue Skies category. I see where you're going with that because it's it's the detective thing.
It's the same vibe, but a little more serious.
Yeah. I would say sometimes a lot more serious.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that show. That is actually a show I want to talk about. I think it's highly underrated. It was really good. I would not put it in Blue Skies category, actually.
All right, fair.
I'd put the last season in Blue Skies category because at that point they were just giving the fans what they wanted. But most of it, you do actually wonder if people are going to die or, things are going to get crazy. Okay. But no, I see where you're going. But yeah, like Monk, Psych, White Collar.
Yeah, Suits, White Collar.
Suits.
Burn Notice.
Yeah, I put Burn Notice in there. Although, again, that one too was like a slightly more serious sometimes. But no major characters were killed.
Right.
And you kind of knew.
Psych had some dark episodes.
Yeah.
Like, all of them did dip their toes into serious content.
Right. Yeah, it's not like there's not gravity to these shows. You just kind of know where they end up is ultimately going to be okay. I would throw Leverage in this category for sure.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. Definitely going to we're talking about that this show next week. That's my pick for the show off. Yeah, I would definitely throw that show in there. Leverage was kind of an anomaly in that category for TNT, because you kind of, for a while, you had like TNT and USA, I feel like were the big cable drama networks. Like, and then I guess, you had AMC with Breaking Bad and Mad Men.
I'm like, A&E, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's Accident Emergency.
Yeah. AMC.
Thank you.
They were definitely way more towards the heavy-hitting sort of drama.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch AMC.
Yeah. I don't think my parents just weren't into it, so we didn't watch it. But then, and then you had like FX. That was also more heavier stuff.
That always felt, more adult. Mm-hmm. And then TBS was just sitcom.
TBS was usually, sitcoms. What am I missing? Sci-fi. Mm-hmm. Sci-fi had some, I would call Blue Skies TV. Warehouse 13. Did you watch that show?
No.
That's a fun one. It's basically like, imagine that there's this like magical warehouse. You know the warehouse at the end of the first Indiana Jones movie?
Yes.
Imagine like that's real and it's full of magical artifacts.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and there's like these secret agents that have to go around the world collecting,
like Men in Black.
Like kind of like
for magic.
Men in Black, but for magical objects. They have to go around the world like collecting stuff, and that's like quote unquote presents a threat to people.
Belongs in Warehouse 13.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like a play on Area 51. Area 51 meets that warehouse at the end of Indiana Jones. Sort of.
I like it.
But yeah, that was like just fun and fluff. Eureka was also on Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Which I never fully watched. I watched like maybe a couple episodes of it, but I feel like that's along the same lines. Yeah. But USA was the king.
This era of, the aughts and the tens.
Yeah.
Blue Skies ruled,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, then you did have your Breaking Bad, your Mad Men, and you had the HBO shows, kind of HBO started to creep up.
HBO, Showtime, and there's one other one that I can't think of, were Stars.
Oh, yeah.
HBO, Showtime, and Stars were the big ones that were kind of carrying the weight of more serious drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they could get away with, I think, things being rated R, basically.
Yeah.
So that helped. You couldn't really do that on cable. But yeah, now there's kind of this resurgence of the Blue Skies vibe. We were just talking about before we started recording that Netflix is adding White Collar to their lineup. The full, I think it was 7 seasons that show ran, with Matt Bomer playing Neil Caffrey, who is basically a con man who ends up working with the FBI to solve white collar crimes, which ends up being a lot of the time ends up being like, stolen identity, art theft, fun shenanigans, basically. There was murder occasionally, but it was not a focus of the show.
It was still procedural though, right?
Oh yeah, definitely procedural. Which is kind of, again, also I would say the USA Blue Skies format. Most of these were procedurals, but they were like procedurals with a twist.
Yeah.
Like not just your standard Law and Order or CSI or...
You have a detective, but he's a fake psychic.
You have
a lawyer, but he's really a con man.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a lawyer, but he didn't actually go to law school. You have...
What was the one with the doctor? would like do house calls.
Ooh, I can picture it.
Right?
Royal Pains.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was another one of the era.
Yeah, and
I never
it
got
was like in the
into it.
Hamptons.
I watched a couple of episodes and I was, oh, it's boring.
I watched a good chunk of it. Again, it was like one of those ones that was just, it was on.
Yeah.
So I watched it. And I watched everything else on USA, so I watched it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I used to do my homework to NCIS on USA after school.
Yeah, they aired a lot of
So
reruns.
much NCIS.
And a lot of NCIS. Yeah, so now they're bringing White Collar back. So it's intriguing to me that Netflix is trying to like hop on this bandwagon of basically putting these shows on Netflix. And clearly this, I mean, to me, this is clearly a reaction to how crazy Suits went.
Yeah, I think
last year.
Too, it's probably just an element of safety.
What do you mean?
Part of Netflix model is, you know, they don't actually, like a Netflix original TV show, Netflix didn't go out, find a TV show that wanted to produce, then paid for it to be produced. Netflix, what they do is they buy the distribution rights.
Right.
So someone else already paid for it to be produced, it's produced, and Netflix just has to be like, yeah, we're going to take the safe bet and buy these different shows that other networks aren't picking up. So we get good prestige television being produced by streaming services. Mm-hmm. Well, now the market is oversaturated with the prestige type.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so now Netflix is, yeah, I think it is partially reaction to Suits, but also just the safe bet of like, there is so much prestige and so much of it was shit. Mm-hmm. That, hey, we got these shows that people are interested in clearly.
Yeah.
We know they're a safe bet because people like them. Mm-hmm. So we're going to jump on this model now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's all about finding the next thing that's going to make you money.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometime late last year, I heard an announcement. I don't know if this is true or if it's being worked on, but I heard an announcement that USA is going to start producing original content again.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So we could be getting
a resurgence
new
of
Blue Skies TV.
Yeah.
Which could be super fun. I'd be super intrigued to see kind of who comes out of the woodwork as far as like old showrunners, old writers that were writing these shows back in the day. You know, a lot of times these networks hire who they know and who has produced great television for them in the past. So it's intriguing to me that we might get to see sort of new stuff from these writers and showrunners we loved back in the day, 10, 15 years ago. And what can they do now in the current landscape that maybe they couldn't do then? Or, what kind of budget might they have and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question too. Like, are these shows going to be made on the cheap like they usually are? Or since
because that is kind of the
that
charm
era of television
of
of like, we're going to pour all of money into it.
Yeah. Actually, that is a good point because one of the things I love as well about Leverage is like they had a budget, but a lot of times like they were forced to be creative because they didn't have all the money in the world to spend. So and that made a better product, that made a better episode of TV a lot of times. And I don't know, I kind of like the lower budget, like I don't mind being asked to suspend my disbelief in a show to keep the fun train going,
Yeah.
I like that
as
about
long as
shows.
we don't have CGI candelabras. I'm looking at you Once Upon a Time. That was bad.
Yeah.
Those are not that expensive.
But like you got to pick and choose where your budget goes.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, so that is an interesting question. And I think another question would be like, are they going to have even shorter seasons? Because that was another thing about a lot of these shows is they kind of started the like 13 episode season as opposed to a 22 episode season, a 24 episode season of a network show. These shows kind of pioneered the shorter, almost half seasons,
right?
That we're all so familiar now with. Like now you have shows that are like
6
episodes.
Yeah.
I think Disney Plus is doing a lot of that with some of the Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows.
Less episodes, more money per episode.
Less episodes, more money per episode. You end up getting like a movie in an episode.
Which, I mean, that was the excuse they used Game of Thrones season 8. Yeah. There was like so much less episodes than what people were used to. And they're like, but it's more money per episode. It makes it better, right?
Yeah. No, wrong. Good writing, it makes it better. And it was not good.
And I think that was, though, like what Blue Skies brought to the table, though, is like, we're going to make less episodes, but we're going to make them good. Like, really exactly. Good.
Take out the fluff.
That's not to say that 22 long episode shows aren't good.
Right.
But if you take a show like Supernatural, which I do love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't come for us.
But there is a lot of fluff episodes in Supernatural, and that is my biggest gripe with that show, because so many episodes, there's 5 minutes of content that's relevant, and the rest is just you can skip.
And it's like they had to make it because that was the episode order they had.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like I would say most of these shows that we've listed are like 13, like 15 episodes max per season.
Yeah, I think Psych had a couple of seasons with 16.
13 to 16 range.
Never more than that.
Yeah. And it just makes for tighter plots. You know, you can pick and choose your episodes a lot more. And I think that's kind of where
less flop episodes.
Less flop episodes. Yeah, that's kind of where that concept was introduced. Like it like what an idea. It doesn't have to be 20 plus episodes per season.
Yeah. Go with what's good.
Yeah. So I hope it comes back. I hope we get new USA shows. We would be all over that.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, like, the old model of how TV used to be done and produced.
Yeah.
And what it gave us, which is these comfort shows.
Yeah.
It's like comfort food. And today with the streaming services, okay, we're going to put these two together, and what's our Frankenstein monster that we're going to get?
It's wild. Especially, too, when you think about the strikes last year.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that came out of that, and, like, you know, listening to a lot of people from the WGA about, you know, how things used to be done and how things are done now, and just how insane it got in terms of, you know, writers' rooms and the time crunch of writing something, writers not being on set anymore. Like that used to be super common, you guys. Like writers would be on set for the episodes they wrote. And sometimes they'd be like redoing shit on the fly. Like sometimes, you know, stuff would happen on set and they'd be like, oh, we can't do XYZ for whatever reason. Like, how can we switch it up? And, you know, the writer would be there for those kinds of changes. And that's not really a thing anymore. So that's like another one of those things where, like, I wonder if kind of some of the old ways of producing TV would return with these kind of cable, you know, for like, let's just use USA as an example. If new USA shows were to be made, would those people kind of revert to some of those older ways of doing things that were established ways of doing things that made good TV?
Yeah.
And in some ways, you know, the industry has suffered from not doing those things.
And it's a question of profit, isn't it? Like, they're going to do what they can. The industry is going to do what it can to
But it also makes me think about, like,
corners. But
yeah,
if we're spending less money on the production, because we're not putting as much value on that now, does that mean the money is going to get redirected to things that bring value?
Yeah. Well, now that I've said the writers thing out loud, I think that was one of the stipulations they had in the contract renewal from the strike last year, was that there has to be a writer on set. I could be wrong about that, but I think that was a rule they made. But kind of thinking about, like I said before, like if they're going to be bringing back people that had previously worked on these types of shows back in the day, they know how to do TV the way they know how to do TV. So is that going to be the way things are done? I don't know. It's interesting to me.
What new, I guess, constraints are going to spur what new creativity? Yeah. Well,
and two, like talking about the kind of next generation of TV writers. So, you know, you could have a situation with these shows where they kind of have the old guard meets the new, which I think, I've heard showrunners and like John Rogers has talked about this with Leverage, like having, young writers on set, actually, he was specifically talking about writers and like having them on set so that they can understand this is how an episode is made, and also be able to kind of shepherd them into producer roles.
Yeah.
Because you don't really learn how to be a producer unless you're on a show and someone's teaching you how to be a producer. So yeah, I hope like this kind of TV brings those opportunities back for people that have not been around in the streaming way of doing things.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else you want to add about Blue Skies TV?
Not really, no. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Yeah,
and
we are hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our bread and butter. This is a TV we love. So,
it's like people crave wholesome content.
Yeah, man.
Frankly, like it's in my opinion the reason why Parks and Rec, The Good Place, like Abbott Elementary, those shows are popular because there's just a wholesome nature to it.
Yeah,
you'd
throw those back in Blue Skies too.
Well, more because they're sitcom, so I would classify them slightly. It's like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Blue Skies on one side, sitcoms on another, and then there's a little
overlap.
bit in the middle.
Yeah. The Mike Schur
yes, exactly.
category of TV. The Good Place, Parks and Rec, yeah.
Yeah, precisely. Like people crave goodness.
Yeah. More than ever.
Yes.
More than ever before.
Yes, and that's not to say that we don't want stakes, we don't want drama.
Yeah.
We do, but give us the assurance that there's going to be a happy ending.
Yeah. Give us something. We need something to believe in, y'all.
It's hard out here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, that was a super fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know. Do you have opinions on Blue Skies TV? Did you grow up watching Blue Skies TV? Are you stoked for White Collar and probably other USA shows to show up on Netflix?
Did you just get into Blue Skies TV
because
of the whole Suits?
Yeah, did you fall down
phenomenon?
the Suits rabbit hole and then you were like, shit, this is great.
Good.
Yeah, let us know. Mm-hmm. And
let us know your thoughts.
You can email us at theshowofpod@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts that way. This episode will be posted on YouTube. You could comment there. You could leave us a review. That'd be really nice too on Apple Podcasts. That keeps us going for sure. So thanks for listening, y'all.
Conversation.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And we'll catch you next time.
Sweet. All right.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Show Off. If you enjoyed this one, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and give us your review of our episode pick for this week's pod. You can also email us at theshowoffpod@gmail.com. See you all next week.